gentlemen, welcome to the 5-Star Revolution podcast with your host, CJ Price. Go over to Facebook right now if you haven't already. We're still doing the contest $200 Visa gift card giveaway. All you have to do is share and like our Facebook page for your chance to win. We're trying to reach 1,000 likes, so get to it. Share, share, share. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5-Star Revolution Podcast. Tonight, we have a very special guest, and his name is Draven Reeves. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good, man. Let's get it. Let's go. How are you doing, CJ?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for asking, and thanks for joining us here tonight on the podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm excited, man.
So I ask this question to every single guest that comes on this podcast because everyone has a different story. Were you a fan growing up?
Always, man. I started watching wrestling because of the Mankind getting thrown off the Hell in a Cell. That happened I think the year I was born or the year before I was born. And as long as I can remember, everybody had to show me that when I was a kid. And so I was glued to the TV ever since. And then the first actual wrestling match that I saw was Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13 on a Because I Said So DVD. So I just got glued ever since. I just was stuck to the TV, stuck to the DVDs. I watched all kinds of wrestling growing up. It wasn't just WWE, wasn't just TNA. There was just all kinds of stuff. And Hastings was still around at the time, so it was really easy to get that stuff. So,
And who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
my favorite wrestler growing up was Stone Cold Steve Austin, as far as nostalgia and stuff like that. But really, as far as technique, the actual wrestling and stuff like that goes, it's got to be Shawn Michaels, man. Just overall a great performer, great seller, and also a little bit of a political hound dog. So, but yeah.
Well, I agree with you there, man. Shawn Michaels is one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. My personal favorite is Mr. Perfect. I think he's the best wrestler in the ring to ever step foot in those ropes, man.
Can't hate on that, man. Can't hate on that at all. So,
So, how'd you get into the wrestling business? How'd you get your start?
I graduated. I dropped out of high school twice, and I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. And I'd always wanted to be a professional wrestler. I just didn't know for sure, because there's a lot of risks and stuff like that. And I was watching a show at Top of Texas here in Amarillo, Texas, and my granddad got called Tubby by one of the wrestlers. He's a little bit of a bigger guy, and he got called Tubby. And he's like, "Man, I really want to go fight that guy." And as soon as he said that, I was like, "Man, I don't know why. I do too." So then I went and talked to first I talked to a guy named Nathan Briggs, and then I ended up starting training with Handgun Dan, Daniel King, and he's been nothing but helpful so far. He's very, very good guy. But yeah, that's how I started. Was I just got out of high school and went to a show and talked to the wrestlers and found out what I needed to do to get involved.
So, what wrestling school are you at right now?
I was going to Top of Texas Academy. Right now, it's kind of off because there's some COVID problems going on up there, and we shut down for a little bit. But I just went back yesterday, and we started training again. So I train with Tino Valentino and myself, and then there's another guy named Alex that I train with, and Sean Lau. So we're all in the same class, and we train under Handgun Dan. So there's not like a specific name really, but
So, do you remember your first match? And if so, what do you remember from that match?
the Rumble or my first singles match?
Your first official match.
Okay, my first official match was XWE. It was a dark match. I was as nervous as I'll get out, man. I was shaking. I was I was sitting there in a black singlet, some shooter shoes, and some knee pads and some wrist tape. And I just remember before the match, I was literally shaking behind the curtain. Like I thought I was gonna throw up, thought I was gonna pass out. I didn't know what was gonna happen. And we started the match, we locked up, and then all that anxiety, everything I felt just went away. And for the first time ever, I got the wrestling high, I guess you could say. And just the crowd got behind me really quick because I was working my trainer, and he was very, very good at being a heel. So automatically they were going to get behind me. So that was very helpful. And I don't remember too much about the match except for he kicked my ass a lot. But I got kicked in the face really hard, and I found out I could take an ass kicking, and that made me feel good. And then after the match, actually, I was just walking to the back, and one person stuck their hand out, and I hit their hand, and next thing I knew, everybody started sticking their hand out, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay." So
So you mentioned that your first match, you felt like you were gonna throw up before the match because you were nervous. So how do you feel now, 3 years later, that you've been in the business
I
before a match?
still I still get the butterflies, man. I still get nervous as I'll get out, I still get shaky and stuff, but it's more controllable. It's like I'm used to it, you know what I mean? It's like I know what I'm doing now for the most part, I understand what I need to do, and it's not as hard, but for sure I still get the shakes and the anxiety. And that's more just the fear of, you just don't know what's going to happen. It's an unpredictable business. Some people get really, really hurt. So, that's always in the back of my head, and my family's out there. And then there's always the chance of like, what if I screw up? But once you get out there, you got to forget all that and just, roll with the program.
So we've mentioned that you've been in the business for about 3 years now. So you're still kind of a rookie. You're still kind of new to the wrestling business. How do you deal with those veterans that are hard-headed per se, that don't want to listen to your ideas when you're in a match with them?
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you how my trainer told me. It don't matter what you want to do. Shut the fuck up and listen. Okay, that was rule number one. I walked in. He said, "You shut the fuck up and listen. If if it's not jeopardizing your safety and it's not something that you think is going to kill your character, that's when you should speak up. But if your safety's fine." And I just listen to what the vet says. And I've never really dealt with any hard headed vets because they just ask me what I know how to do, and they come up with the formula. So,
All right, so speaking about shut the fuck up and listen, how does a guy like you deal with backstage politics?
me personally, so like I said, if it starts jeopardizing people's safety, it starts being a little sketchy, that's when I'll speak up. But as far as backstage politics, I haven't had to deal with too many. I try to keep my nose clean, try to keep my head clean. I don't care about any drama. I don't care about who's where on the card. I just do what's asked of me until I feel like it's jeopardizing my safety or character. And so far, I've been very blessed to have some bookers and people that know exactly what to do with me, where to put me, and I've been nothing but blessed. I haven't dealt with any backstage politics really yet. Yet I know it's coming, but not yet.
So when you debut for a new promotion, what's your main goal? Do you want to have the best match on the card, or do you just go there, learn, and try to absorb everything?
I think anytime you wrestle, you should want to have the best match in the card. I really that's one thing I don't like is whenever somebody's like, "Hey man, you should save it for the main event and save this and that." No, man, I want to work as hard as I can, so the main event has to work harder. That's my whole goal. So my goal when I walk into a promotion is to absorb and learn and get everything in, but it is also, yes, to have the best match on the card and make people turn their heads and go, "Wow, this kid had something. He is his gimmick. I am the certified go-getter." I want them to think that. And so far I've done a pretty good job. Not every time, but so far pretty good. And yeah, but the ultimate goal really also is to just be cool and kind of meet some new people, meet some new connections, start networking. Anytime I walk into somewhere new, I want to make sure that people do know my name and I shake everybody's hand and that everybody is going to be watching my match, and especially the veterans in the room. So,
So speaking of about the certified goal getter, you mind explaining about your character and what it's about?
all right, whenever I was 10 or 11 years old, I met Terry Funk. And Terry Funk's a legend. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows Terry Funk. But meeting the man in person, he could have told 1,000 kids you're going to be a future champion. He could have told a million people that, and it didn't matter because he told me that. And I was just I was so into wrestling at that time, and I was just asking a bunch of questions, and the type of questions I was asking weren't really mark questions, and I don't like to use the term mark, but they weren't really fan questions. They were more about the business, like how do y'all do this and how do y'all do that? And he was like, "Man, you're a go-getter, aren't you?" And as soon as he said that, I was like, well, that's certified right there, huh? Whenever the man himself says you're the go-getter, then you're the go-getter. And I still actually have the autograph. I have my figure that he approached me to sign. And I just, ever since then, I always called myself a go-getter. And whenever I didn't have a voice in wrestling, I decided that was going to be my voice. And that was going to be who I was.
So are you a heel or a face right now?
Face right now. Heel work's coming soon because I'm a really pissed off guy. And sometimes the go-getter doesn't get it what he deserves. So
What do you like doing better, heel or face?
I like face right now, mostly because growing up my whole life, I wanted people to chant my name, and I wanted people to come up to me and be excited for me and not really hate me. But the more that I kind of start to lean into the anger and we train more and stuff like that, I'm just like, man, I really want to piss some people off. But right now, it's nice to have some people smile at you and kiss babies and whatnot. So taking pictures with people, that's always fun. And yeah, just overall the attention. I'm very much an attention whore. So
So what's the longest drive you've done so far in your career?
the longest drive so far was about 7.5 to 8 hours to Kansas. It was Salina, Kansas, and that was the show for XWE. I've worked for them a couple times, not recently. Still trying to get back out there, but yeah. Oh yeah, it's 8 hours.
So when you do those long drives, right, and you go to those shows, there's only 20, 30 people in the crowd. How do you feel about that? Are you disappointed, and how do you perform on those shows?
Um, I'm half disappointed, but I think about something that Chris Jericho said on a podcast. Anybody can have a good match in front of 500 people. Anybody, you go or 5,000, or whatever the number is, in the hundreds, you can have a great match, but work seven. Make seven people really get involved with what you're doing. So that's the way I see it is, can I get these 20 people to get behind me? Can I get these 30 people to get behind me? Because if I can get these 20 to 30 people and there's only 20 to 30 people in the room, can I make it sound like there's 100? And that's my goal. I try to not look at it. I try to look at everything optimistically. And if it hurts. I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt, but as soon as the pain goes away, I'm like, man, how am I going to make these people get behind me? Because there's only 30 people here. And I drove 8 hours for them to get behind me. So
That's a very good answer, man. I like your mindset.
thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. I try to, like I said, stay optimistic about everything.
So who's your dream opponent?
Oh man, I've got so many. Most of them are dead, but no, honestly, man, somebody I really wanted to work because I watched him a lot growing up, and I thought he was just underrated, and he's still employed. That R-Truth, man. I really want to wrestle R-Truth because I feel like he's just such a fun person, a good person. He's also just a fun wrestler. Just watching him wrestle, he can do some really badass things. So if I could pick anybody, it'd be him. But second to him, a little bit bigger name, I'd touch Triple H. That's a man who can bump, he can work, he can, there's not a whole lot of Triple H's matches that you go back and watch and you just were like, well, that was a shit match. It may have been a shit Triple H match because it's fucking Triple H, but really when you look at it, no, it was a Triple H match, and there's a reason it was called a Triple H match. So
I like that answer about R-Truth. I had the privilege to meet him a couple times. He's a very nice guy, very humble, and he seems like a hardworking individual. So I would like to see you against him one day.
yeah, I'm hoping so someday, man. I'm hoping I hope he doesn't get released by WWE, but I'm just hoping he touches the Indies before he retires, so I can touch him real quick.
So besides pro wrestling, is there any other sports that you watch or follow?
Not really, no, man. I played a little bit of football in high school, a little bit of football in middle school, and stuff like that, and played some tennis growing up and other sports, but. Nah, man, I love wrestling. That's it. That's it for me. I don't really like sports. I think they're a work.
Hey man, you're in the perfect business then.
Yeah, right. I watch real sports like wrestling. So
So this is the section of the podcast where I asked the wrestler to cut a promo for me for 30 seconds.
Okay.
If you don't mind, would you like to do that for us?
Yeah, sure. What's you got any context, or you just want me to go in, or what?
You're against your next opponent.
Okay. All right. All right. Well then, all right. Yeah, yeah. I got you. I got you. Okay. Just right now, you want me to just go?
Go ahead, brother.
All right. Well, let me tell you something then, CJ. So there's people out here who don't work hard. There's people out here that just know somebody and get put in the ring. And there's people like me that's unacceptable. That's why I am the go-getter. That's why I have to go get it. To show every single one of those people that had it handed to them why they had to have it handed to them. Even if they did work as hard as I did, they ain't going to be where I'm at. Because I am the certified go-getter and I do say, get it, let's go.
I love that, man. A lot of energy right there. So, why does wrestling mean so much to you?
Oh man, shit, you made me cry. It was my escape. You know, I grew up in a very weird situation. On one side, I had my mom who was an addict and in and out of jail and stuff like that, and then my father who was a martial artist, disciplined for the most part, and you know he was a third degree black belt, so it was very confusing for me growing up, you know, who to listen to and what to listen to and who to look to as a role model. And so I just looked to wrestling. You know, it's what I had it since I was growing up, and every time I feel upset or I was in a low place in life, it's like wrestling was right there to bring me up. And also it's fun. I mean, it's just fun to watch. It's a good time. And when somebody else is as into wrestling as you are and they're over here watching wrestling, it's like it doesn't. It's like I've never done any like crazy freaking drugs, but like if I did, that's I'd probably describe it as like a high, as like just an insane. It's like a high, really. Like wrestling, we call it the wrestling high because man, it's like there's toys, there's video games, there's you know, and then not only that, there's the behind the scenes, there's the you know, there's the kayfabe. There's just so much to it, and I'm such an ADHD person. That's the place for me, man. Like that is the place for me. Y'all got, and then some of it don't make sense, and I don't either. So I'm all for that.
I agree with you there, man. Wrestling is an art form, and a lot of people should respect it. Speaking of respect, what do you think about those people that wrestling is fake?
I don't like the word fake. I hate the word fake. If you use the word fake and you're not a female, or if you have a dick and you say fake, I'm gonna pop you in the mouth. Plain and simple, I'm gonna pop you in the mouth. And the reason why is because there is nothing fake about me doing what I do. There's not, because it's pro wrestling. If you showed up to a pro wrestling show expecting to see a fight, you're at the wrong fucking show, homie. You're here to see pro wrestling. You know what you walked into this room to see. The sign outside says wrestling, not punch each other in the face. So if you're here expecting to see a fucking fight, then you're in the wrong building. And so, absolutely, for me, the respect thing is don't call me. You can call me staged. You can call me con man. You can call me all that stuff if you really want to, but do not call me fake because what I do is not fake. It's very real. It's very emotionally real. Like whenever I get hurt or if I'm bruised or something, my family has to deal with that. You know, I come home and I got to lay on the couch and I got to miss work and I got to, you know, and like just recently, you know, I don't know if you know Benjamin Cumberbatch, great guy, and he just broke his neck recently. Can't
Wow.
walk, you know, and I'm hoping he gets to walk again and stuff like that. But it was all because of wrestling and because of fake wrestling. Yeah, fuck that. That was a wrestling move, and it was a move that somebody did all the time. It was a move that it was a Canadian destroyer off the balcony. Stupid move, but they did it all the time. Okay, yeah. Stupid move, but they did it all the time. You see what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like new. They just happened to miss a table and now he can't walk. And that to me is anybody that can call that fake, you deserve to get punched in the face. So respect what I do.
I can tell you from experience, wrestling is not fake. I have bad knees, my ankles messed up, my shoulders are messed up, and I've had two concussions when I did wrestling, man. So
Yeah, I've
trust
had
me,
one so far.
it sucks. It
Yeah.
sucks. So speaking of injuries, what's your worst injury you've had so far?
A concussion is the worst one. I've had sprains and I've had bruises and but and a broken nose. I got a concussion and a broken nose. The broken nose was actually just from a waistlock takeover. I gave somebody a waistlock takeover and his head bounced off the mat and right into my damn nose.
Ouch.
So I wish I had the video still. You can hear the snap. And then the concussion, I got tripped up and went to go hit I was going to hit my face on the ground, but my arm was injured at the time. So I couldn't really catch myself. So I just kind of had to take it to the face. And later on in that match, I was already concussed. And to make it worse, I got smacked in the side of the temple. And my head was just fuzzy. I had a headache. And I just had to finish the fucking match. So
Yeah,
got through the match.
I had 2 concussions. The first one, I finished the match. The second one, I was completely knocked out, bro. So the guy just pinned me. He was like, "The match is over, man. We're not gonna continue." Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, damn. Yeah. Luckily, I haven't had any blackouts or anything. I figured I thought you had to get knocked out when you have a concussion, but apparently, no. You can get a concussion and still function just fine for the most part. For the most part, I was throwing up and had a headache from hell's, but.
So, do you have any funny backstage stories or road stories that you want to share?
Oh man, I've got two for you actually. I've got two. So the first one, we were making the trip to Kansas. Me and Tino Valentino were great guy, great guy. But we were falling asleep, man. We were switching every 20 minutes and shit. Like we were just falling asleep. And we get out of the truck and just kind of walking around trying to amp ourselves up, and we just instinctively start wrestling right there on the side of the road. I mean, just full blown, just like chain wrestling right on the side of the road to wake ourselves up. And there was like nobody out there, but the one truck that did pass by honked at us. They thought we were fighting and shit, but we were just wrestling, man, and just trying to stay awake, really. And then we got back in the truck and took off and started talking about wrestling and started, and that one was pretty funny. But the second one, we were in the back, and there's a deathmatch wrestler named Chewy, and he was going around stapling people. He had a staple gun. He's just stapling people. And my friend Sean was bent over, and he got him right in the asshole. I mean, it was fucking perfect. He got him. And Sean's what's funny about it, he's very, not necessarily serious, but he doesn't really react to things that much. If you tell him something, it doesn't. But that one, he got her in. Oh my God, oh shit. And whole locker room heard him. And so Chewy being Chewy started stapling at him some more. And it was just good times, man. But only 3 years in, so I'll probably have some funnier stories about 10 years in. So,
So, what can we expect out of you in the next 3 years?
In the next 3 years, man. So right now, actually, dealing with a little bit of personal problems, and I was hurt recently, so I just had to heal up. But right now, I'm actually working for Squared Circle Pro SCP in Lubbock. I'm working for them pretty full time, so I'll be working for them for sure for the next 3 years, probably the next 10 years if they're still open, because it is a great promotion to work for. And then really, my ultimate goal in the next 3 years, I guess if you're asking 1 to 3 years, is to, I got to have merchandise. I want to be on the road more. My biggest goal is to get out more. These next 3 years, I'm going to be promoting. I mean, nothing but wrestling. I don't even, hopefully I can quit my damn job in 3 years and just be a pro wrestler. You know what I mean? And I don't care if that's, if I just have passive income that's coming through, or if I have to, be a bum. Not really, but, but I just love wrestling, man. So really in the next 3 years, I'm just going to train harder, come up with what I need to come up with, and you might see a heel turn in there. So
that would be interesting. So, if there's one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you started wrestling, what would that be, man?
Oh man, gee, that's a really good question, man. That's a good question. If there was one thing that I uh, honestly, man, the networking, talking to people. When I very first started, I was very scared to talk to people because I was scared of being judged. Little did I know, this is one of the most crazy, fucked up businesses you could be in,
Absolutely.
and fun as hell, but still crazy and fucked up. But I just wish I'd have talked to people more, and I wish I would have connected with certain people. There was actually an incident where I was at a seminar, a Brutal Bob Evans seminar, great guy and great guy to learn from. I didn't get in the ring. I was like 3 months. I was scared as fuck to get in the ring, and I should have gotten in the ring because I would have gotten so much knowledge and experience just from getting in that ring. And so basically my insecurities. I wish I would have just set my insecurities to the side sooner. And when it went ahead and told myself back then, it doesn't matter how embarrassed you are and how embarrassed you feel or look. What matters is that you're here and you're putting in the work. And I just told myself a lot of negative shit. So if
Hey,
I could go back, I'd tell myself all the opposite.
hey, man, you live and you learn.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So my last question for you, Mr. Reeves, is what is your main goal? Like, what are you looking to get out of this business?
I just want to make a living professional wrestling. I don't want to be a mechanic. I don't want to be a truck driver. I don't want to be a, restaurant guy, whatever the jobs are. I don't want to do that. I want to be a professional wrestler. I want to retire as a professional wrestler. I want everything about my life to be professional wrestling and my family. That's it. My family and pro wrestling. And they're very supportive as well. So that kind of goes hand in hand. And so that's my ultimate goal is to, I don't give a fuck about championships. I don't care if it's this promotion, that promotion. If I were working every single day wrestling and that's the only way I can make a living, I'd be fine with that. I just want to wrestle and make money at it. And if you're not in this business to make money, you're in the wrong business. Because I mean, plain and simple, if you go into any business, you're going to want to make money. Now, I'm not making a lot of money right now, but that's the goal. You know what I mean? That's the whole goal, is to make some money. So, and to be successful. And whatever your definition of success is fine, but my personal definition of success is I'm making a steady paycheck off this shit.
And we wish you the best of luck, man. I think you have a bright future ahead of you. Do you have any social media that you want to plug for the fans?
I've got Facebook, I've got Instagram at Draven Evander Reeves on Instagram, at Draven Reeves on Facebook. I've also got a Snapchat at the Yellow City Boy 21. I've got every platform you could imagine. I even have a TikTok. So I mean, yeah, man, I've got all that stuff. Whenever you post a video and I share it, I'll also put some underneath there too, all my stuff. So
We would appreciate that, man. I really would appreciate that. And thank you so much for your time, Mr. Draven Reeves. It was a true pleasure. Like I said, I see a bright future ahead of you. And we wish you the best of luck in your career, sir.
hey, thank you so much, Mr. CJ Price. I appreciate you bringing me on, man, and being so kind and not being boring. So,
No problem, man. No problem. Thank you so much for your time. And you fans, don't forget, follow us and join us on Facebook. 5 Star Revolution Podcast, $200 Visa gift card giveaway. 1,000 likes is our goal. So go to Facebook and share, share, share. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5 Star Revolution Podcast. Mr. Reeves, have a great night, man.
hey, you too, CJ. Thank you so much, brother.